It was a regular summer evening in Slidell, Louisiana, a quiet city just north of Lake Pontchartrain. The streets were calm, the sun was slowly setting, and the warm air still hung around. Four local police officers were driving through the city, doing their usual rounds. They had been working for hours, checking neighborhoods, watching traffic, and making sure everything was safe. By around 7 p.m., the officers started to feel hungry. It had been a long shift, and they needed a quick break to grab something to eat before going back to work. They talked it over and agreed to stop at Outback Steakhouse, a familiar spot located on Gauze Boulevard. It was a place they'd visited before during their shifts. Nothing fancy, just a good meal and a short rest. They pulled into the parking lot in their marked police cruisers, stepped out, and walked inside wearing their uniforms. The restaurant was busy with evening diners, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. To them, it was just another quick dinner before returning to duty. But what the officers didn't know was that something different was about to happen. Something small, but powerful. A gesture they would remember for a long time. This night wouldn't just be about food, it would be about kindness, respect, and community. Inside the Outback Steakhouse, the cool air and smell of grilled food welcomed the four officers. As they walk in, a young waitress named Zoe Rao notices them right away. She's in her mid-20s with a warm smile and friendly energy. Zoe has seen these officers before, many times in fact. They often stop by for dinner during their shifts. Zoe enjoys serving them. The officers are always polite, quiet, and respectful. They don't make a fuss and always leave a good tip. To Zoe, they're not just men in uniform. They're good people who do hard work and treat others kindly. Behind the counter stands Arlene Wood, the restaurant's manager. Arlene has worked for Outback for 18 years, and she knows most of the regular customers by face. When she sees the officers walk in, she nods to herself. She knows them too. She's seen how they act, how they treat the staff, and how they care about the community. As the officers sit down and look at the menu, Arlene walks over to Zoe. She leans in and speaks softly. "Let's take care of it tonight," she says. Zoe's eyes light up. She nods with a smile. There's no long talk. No need to ask why. They both understand. They decide to pay for the officer's meal, a $67 bill, and write a kind message on the receipt. It's just a small way to say thank you for everything the officers do. The officers sit comfortably at their table, chatting quietly among themselves. They order their meals, nothing out of the ordinary, steaks, sides, and drinks. For them, it's just a quick dinner before going back to their long shift. They laugh a little, share small stories from the day, and enjoy the short break. Zoe serves them as usual. She brings the plates with a smile, refills their drinks without being asked, and makes sure they have everything they need. The officers thank her politely each time. To anyone else in the restaurant, it looks like any other table on a regular night. When the meal is over, the officers are ready to pay. One of them reaches for the check, expecting to split the cost like always. But when he opens the receipt folder, he freezes for a moment. His eyes catch the note at the very top. Written in clear, kind handwriting are the words, "Be safe." He looks closer and reads the rest. "Thank y'all for y'all's service. Enjoy y'all's meal on us." The total shows $0 The entire bill has already been covered. The table grows quiet as the four men realize what just happened. They glance at each other, surprised but touched. This wasn't something they expected. They look over at Zoe, who gives them a small nod and a smile. Arlene stands near the counter, pretending to be busy but watching from a distance. It's a simple gesture, yet it means so much. In their line of work, the officers often deal with danger, stress, and criticism. To be reminded that the community sees them, values them, and thanks them, it warms their hearts. The officers decide they can't just walk away without showing gratitude of their own. They leave a hefty tip, far more than the cost of the meal, making sure Zoe and Arlene know how much their kindness is appreciated. A quiet act of generosity has just turned into a powerful exchange of respect. The officers leave the restaurant that night with full stomachs and fuller hearts. The note on the receipt stays in their minds as they climb back into their patrol cars and continue their shift. To them, it wasn't just about a free meal, it was about feeling seen and appreciated. Later, back at the Slidell Police Department, the receipt makes its way into the hands of the department's social media team. They decide to share the moment, wanting the community to know about the kindness shown by the staff at Outback Steakhouse. The next morning, the department posts a photo of the receipt on their official Facebook page. The caption thanks Arlene Wood and Zoe Rao for their generosity and highlights how important these small acts of kindness can be. Within hours, the post begins to spread quickly. Local residents comment and share, writing messages like, "This is what we need more of," and "Thank you to those ladies for showing respect." Soon, the story is picked up by Fox, 8 News, and other media outlets. For Arlene and Zoe, the attention is unexpected. They hadn't done it for publicity, just for the officers they knew as regular customers. But now, their small act of kindness is reaching thousands of people far beyond Slidell, Louisiana. The photo of the $67 receipt with its handwritten note at the top and bottom becomes a symbol of community spirit. A simple meal has turned into a reminder of how gratitude, even in small forms, can spread far and wide. By the time the story appeared on Fox 8 News and other outlets, both Arlene Wood and Zoe Rao were getting phone calls. Friends, family, and even strangers reached out to tell them they had seen the post online. For Arlene, who had worked at Outback Steakhouse for 18 years, the sudden attention felt overwhelming. "I got a phone call early in the morning and I was like, 'What are you talking about?'" Arlene later recalled. "People were calling me and then we saw it on Facebook. Then it's on this one and that one." Both she and Zoe had never expected their quiet gesture to spread so far. Arlene explained that their decision wasn't about recognition or making headlines.
We didn't do it because of that, because Lord knows I don't like all this publicity.
"We didn't do it for this publicity," she said honestly, "because Lord knows I don't like all this publicity." For them, it was about respect. They had served these officers before, seen how they treated others, and wanted to give something back. "They care about the community. They care about everybody," Arlene said. "They're just great guys. Our whole police force is great." And that night I went to Zoe and said, "Let's take care of it." Still, despite their discomfort with the spotlight, the message behind their action continued to spread. Thousands of people online praised their kindness, saying it restored their faith in humanity. What had started as a simple decision between 2 women at a restaurant was now inspiring others far beyond the walls of Outback Steakhouse. As the days passed, the story of the free meal in Slidell, Louisiana kept circulating online. What began as a simple note on a $67 receipt had now reached people across the country. Comments poured in from strangers who felt touched by the kindness of Arlene Wood and Zoe Rao. Many said it reminded them that small gestures could carry great meaning. Some shared their own experiences. A waitress in another state wrote about how she once paid for a firefighter's lunch. A man commented that he had bought coffee for an officer in his town after reading the story. The Slidell incident became more than a local act of generosity. It became a spark that encouraged others to show appreciation in their own communities. Meanwhile, at the Outback Steakhouse on Goss Boulevard, things slowly returned to normal. The officers went back to their nightly patrols. Zoe continued waiting tables, greeting customers with her usual smile. Arlene kept managing the floor, making sure everything ran smoothly. But there was a quiet change. Both women knew that their small decision had traveled further than they ever imagined. They hoped people wouldn't just see the story as a viral headline, but as a reminder, respect and gratitude still matter. The 4 officers who received the meal carried that reminder with them too. The heartfelt note, Be safe. Thank y'all for y'all's service. Wasn't just words on paper. It was proof that their work was noticed and that the community still cared. One act of kindness had rippled outward, showing how even the simplest gestures could inspire others to do the same. Now we want to hear from you. What would you have done if you were in Zoe and Arlene's place? Would you have paid for the meal, written a note, or maybe just said thank you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to know how you would have shown appreciation. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss more real stories like this one.